way too wet on your cheeks to be nothing. But what does she know? Really, what does she know?
What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Mindtality podcast. I'm your host, Rodolfo Felix.
And co-host Eric, guys.
And we're back for another video, another week, number 28. It is currently June 21st, Monday, and we're here to bring you that heat. How has it been, Eric? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Just had a Father's Day yesterday, so that was fun going out and celebrating, spend some time with my dad and my family. That was always a blessing to have. So we went down to San Diego. My cousin works for a really nice restaurant. And I'm not used to, let me just throw it out there. I'm not used to eating at nice restaurants. and let me kind of give you a background. It's one of those restaurants where you have to wear like slacks and a button up.
Right.
All right. Okay. And I look at the menu for the first time. I see $30 for chicken. That was the cheapest thing on that menu, was $30 for chicken.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, is there a salad?
Something
like it was just way too expensive for my taste.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm not even a big chicken fan either.
No, like you would think like, oh, it shouldn't be $30. I can go buy it at the store, the fillet for like 10 and then go make it, and it's 10 times better in my opinion. You know?
Yeah, no doubt. Okay. Yeah, you for those who don't have Mr. Ogaz on Instagram, he was looking sweet this week. He had his hair gelled back. I said, okay. All right, okay. He looked like he was about to sign a contract for a mission.
Yeah, I know. My aunt was telling me.
Background.
My aunt was telling me I look like a mobster.
Oh yeah, no doubt. You were all about business there. That's good to hear, Eric. My Father's Day was a little different. I did call my dad. I texted my stepdad. I did start off the morning with breakfast at BJ's. With Allie's parents and her brother, and then shortly after we went to her grandparents in Banning or Beaumont, where they had their 50th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
50 years.
That's actually crazy. Yeah,
bruh, that's crazy. Like, the more I thought about it throughout the evening, and I was just like comparing, like, Allie and I have known each other for 9 years, and we're supposed to be getting married in August. So we're barely about to start that journey, and they've been doing it for 50 years, man.
That's wild. I mean, that's pretty much the same age as my dad.
Yeah, and it's goosebumps too, because at one point they had like a presentation, pictures, when they were younger, and this, and then like you hear stories like they say at the dinner table or like on an outing. They'll drop a story on you, and then like you see a picture on that slideshow where it's like, yo, that was that story. Like what they were wearing was exactly that story. Or like looking back, like when they first had their first kid, like you knew, like, man, they're about to have, like, at this time they had no clue that they were about to have 3 more kids,
yeah.
Or this it was a trip, man. It was a super trip to be there and to experience that. Super motivating, very emotional, very, very emotional, but very beautiful, very pure, and like I said, inspiring, very inspiring.
Yeah, it is inspiring to know that it's possible to stay in a relationship with somebody for that long, but I can't imagine the level of commitment and what do you want to like sacrifice. Give and take. Sacrifice. Thank you. Sacrifices that you have to make in order to maintain that relationship, because it's not always just going to be sunshine and rainbow.
Nope.
In 55 years of being together, right? It's going to be hardship. It's going to be sacrifices. It's going to take a lot more than just, hey, how are you type of thing.
Yeah. I know one thing for sure that's got them to where they're at today, 50 years into a marriage, is like that learner's mentality of just like you want the relationship to work, you're gonna make it work, and so you start paying attention of like how you can make it work. You know, you're not necessarily changing your lifestyle to them, but you know, you have a learner's mindset. They don't like this when I do that. They don't like this when I say that. You know, and you really learn how to connect with that person. You really know how to come into unison with them, and that's just something you learn over time. But yeah, so enough with that. 50 years. Congratulations to them if you're listening to the podcast. I love you guys. You guys are awesome, and many more years to come for sure.
Yes. That's crazy. So all right. So going back to what I was saying, as far as like I went out into this nice restaurant, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit more about that. So when I was out there, and I kind of had like an epiphany of noticing what I was like. I'm dressed, I'm looking around me, I'm seeing a lot of nice, you know, people wearing nice clothes and all these different things. And I'm thinking to myself, like, is this like, you know, who I am, you know, or this what I want to be like when I make it, or, you know, am I gonna be that person and 30 years from now in a nice suit at these nice restaurants, like spending $30 on chicken that I really don't need?
that chicken is really got to you, huh, Eric?
I'm like, I really reflected, and then I kind of was like, you know what? This is not who I am, you know? And I feel like I wanted to bring on to the podcast of the fact of staying true to who you are. You know, stay true to who you are and how you got to where you are. You know,
Okay.
and so I'm thinking to myself, you know, no, I don't want to do this in 30 years. I don't want to be in this nice restaurant spending $3 on chicken wearing nice suits. Maybe I'll go out once in like a blue moon, like maybe a year or a month or something. I don't know. But
Okay.
like for me, I just wanted to like throw it out on the podcast and say how important it is to stay true to who you are. Because if you're trying to be somebody that you're not, or something that you're not physically, mentally, and financially, you're just going to put yourself in a bad position, straight up.
Okay, so it just wasn't your taste. Like that type of setting, that type of formal setting isn't your taste.
Okay, so like, don't get me wrong, I loved it. I enjoyed it. It was
Yeah.
super fun, and I like, obviously I would do it again. But the point I'm trying to make is that like I didn't grow up that way.
No, I hear you. I hear
I
you.
I grew up like, you know, learning to fend for myself, managing with just the bare minimum and figuring things out. And so it feels uncomfortable for me to be in a spot or a position like that, where you're around these like really rich people and they're like spending $30 on appetizers, and I'm like, I could, that $30 can go use somewhere else, in my opinion. You
I
know, like
love it.
I'm thinking books, I'm thinking something else that I could spend on. I'm like, this is a waste of money that I could use for something else.
Okay, Eric. So, when you finally when you finally start making money, what am I saying here? When you finally start making money, are you just gonna drive a Fiat, or we're gonna see Eric in a whip?
No, I feel like I'll drive a truck. I gotta stay true to that. I'll get
Okay, would
myself a
you
truck.
pimp out the wheels? Would you get a detail once a month?
No, I'll make sure it's nice. Like, that's okay. That's the difference of what I'm saying here. Maybe
You're doing a
separate
horrible
this.
job
I
covering
know,
you
I
being an
know.
agent. You're sounding more and more like you went like this was some type of cartel meeting, and you're trying to cover it up.
No. Okay, so like you can have the this nice things as far as like the truck, because that's a necessary item. You need to go to and from work every day,
Okay.
and that's
Okay.
something that you gotta like do. But what I'm talking about is the things that you don't have to do, like nice dinners, like on a daily basis, or,
Okay.
you know, if that makes sense.
So
Like,
you like Eric likes himself a home cooked meal.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
Not a, yes, but saying is don't spend money on things that you don't need to.
Okay.
Stay
Okay.
knowing your boundaries financially, physically, and mentally.
So what if you do got the money?
I mean, if that's
You
what you
good to
want to
go?
do, if that's what you want to do, then yeah, I'm just saying to know your boundaries, right? Like if you do this on a daily basis and you're starting to like kind of slacks on your work ethics because you're going out all the time and doing
Okay.
all these things, like just know that you got other responsibilities, and if this type of lifestyle changes your work ethics, your personality, then maybe you should know when to do it and when not to.
So a balance. A
It's a
balance of
balance
both worlds. Okay.
because for me it was a mentality thing. Like I'm like, why am I don't feel like I deserve to be eating at this table yet. I haven't made it, you know?
Ooh,
I don't
Eric.
like
So
I'm eating
you felt like okay, like this is kind of you didn't want this to tamper your drive,
exactly. It
being
it
in
it
this
was
type
it was
of
it was messing with my mentality of just I'm sitting here at this nice restaurant. I see all these rich people eating $30 chicken, and to me it's like, yeah, I've come a far long way to be where I am, and I'm very grateful for everything, but I'm not done yet. And to me, like I felt sitting at that table that I was supposed to be quote unquote satisfied, but I'm
yeah.
not. Like it was just messing with my mental
Oh, I could tell, Eric.
of just like, no, this isn't it.
I like that.
I need to be out grinding, not here just eating $30 chicken thinking I made it.
I don't know. I don't know. I kind of like that. I always ask myself like when I have enough money to buy a foreign car, like would I? And I always tell my fiance that I wouldn't. Like I don't want to. It's
Hmm.
tempting. I'm not gonna lie, it's tempting, because
Yeah.
it's hard to gas a Nissan Sentra, okay? Up a freeway ramp. Okay.
Yeah.
My car don't move like that.
Yeah.
It's always tempting to you see it on YouTube, the boxers, they're driving Lamborghinis, and
Hmm.
in movies too, celebrities and Instagram, they're driving foreign cars. And um i'm s- I agree what you're saying. I agree what you're saying. You don't want to you don't want it to taint your drive. You don't want it to ruin that like hunger that you've built over the time of your life.
Hmm.
And then you also don't want to like overdo it, like where you forget your initial circle,
Hmm.
like the people who are there for you, and the what's that word, that humbleness, that gratitude you have.
Yes, humbleness.
Yeah, so I get that 100%. And I always think about this. Funny enough, Eric, I always think about, for me, I always think about a car. Like,
Hmm.
I don't want to say a car defines who you are, or it can indicate who you are, but I think to some extent there's some truth to that.
Hmm.
Again, you're also talking to someone who's not driving a foreign car, so take this very lightly. But I get what
Yeah.
you're saying. I get what you're saying. For me, it's not necessarily, I don't mind fancy dinners. I think I could go to a fancy dinner and still be able to hold it down. I mean, look at you, Eric. You woke up the next morning for a podcast. You didn't go bougie on us. You didn't sleep in.
No.
Send us an emoji of
Uh,
crying face.
yeah.
You kept your discipline. But for me, I don't mind a fancy dinner. I don't mind dressing up. I don't mind intellectual conversations, but for me, what gets me nervous, Eric, is a car. Like for some reason, like for me,
Mm.
I think it's like as soon as I get a nice car, I'm gonna lose my edge, for some reason.
Mm.
And I guess that's the commonality between two of us, is that we're really like putting up barriers to even get us, like anything that's gonna even potentially slow us down. We're already putting up barriers there. And for me, it's a car. Like
Mhm.
even if I move from my Nissan Sentra to like Lexus. Like to me, I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, like I still want to be a savage at work. I still want to, do the podcast weekly. For me, it's always
Yeah.
for like. So I get what you're saying, Eric. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. It's just knowing your boundaries and staying true to who you are. Because if that's who you are and that's how you motivate yourself, or if
Mhm.
that's how you mentally keep on your game, then continue to do that. Like don't try and stray from what's been working, you know?
Yeah,
There's no reason
definitely.
no reason to do that. Like I think I even read somewhere that Bill Gates, like one of the richest men in the world, still has like the pickup truck from high school or something.
Yeah. Steve Jobs in his bedroom. I read his book. All he had was a nightstand, a mattress, and I think that's it. Like, I mean, he's
Yeah, so
rich.
maybe
And
there is something in what we're saying
and the
here.
bed was on the ground too, Eric. The
Oh
bed was on the
wow.
ground. It wasn't even like a full bed set. Yeah.
So maybe there is something to what we're saying of just to stay hungry, like live like you're poor,
Yeah.
but really be hungry like you're rich, you know?
You know who does a great job of that?
Who?
Adam Sandler.
Really? How
Yes.
so?
Uh this dude he's been caught so many times on the streets playing basketball in like
Mm.
not even joggers, like worse than joggers. Like
Mhm.
what are those sweatpants? They're like sweatpants, like the traditional gray ones with like the white pull string. He
Oh
wears
yeah,
like
yeah,
those
yeah,
sweatpants, like the light gray sweatpants. He'll wear like some weird like
yeah.
high school hoodie
Hmm.
and messy hair and like some New Balance shoes.
Hmm.
And boom, he's just balling up with
That
random people. Random people, dude.
see, that's
In the
awesome.
yeah, and I don't even know if he just pops up, Eric. You know what I'm saying? He just pops up and he just lives his life. And even like if he's shopping with like his wife or something, he's wearing like some raggedy clothes.
Yeah.
And he has nothing to prove.
Yeah, and I think part of that too comes to learning how to say no. You
Yeah.
know what I mean by that? I
Yeah.
mean, just when you're put in those situations, you're gonna have a lot of people being like, "Hey, do you want to go do this? You want to go do that? Or
Mhm.
you want to buy this thing? Or you want to buy that thing?" And just like we've been sitting here talking about knowing what our boundaries are, and like, okay, if I do buy that car, that's gonna kind of get my mental game off, and it's not gonna keep me as sharp as I want to be. You gotta learn how to say no to those things, even though it's gonna be hard. It might be difficult, but learning how to say no can be very powerful.
Yeah, definitely. And funny enough, like I'm excited to move in that direction too in our future of like I'm slowly getting experience, so I'm slowly getting compensated for that experience.
Hmm.
Slowly moving up in the field, becoming more knowledgeable. And I'm starting to get excited to pay for those nicer dinners,
Hmm.
or like host either it's a wedding or host some type of birthday or something, and it'd be really nice.
Yeah.
Like some, how you go to a party and some people are like, man, this is an overkill. This is like super nice. Well,
Yeah.
like that's what I uh like want to come. That's the level I want to get to at some point, but more of like pride,
Hmm.
like like this is a big celebration, it's important, and we're going to show that it's important, like that.
Right.
Not so much like our party's impenetrable, like that
Yeah.
that type of you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree with you. Like there's just times to celebrate, of course, when you've done things great and you kind of like reflecting on all that you've accomplished. Like of course it's necessary. It is necessary to reflect, because if you don't reflect, then how are you gonna know how to be better? How are you gonna know to fix yourself or work on the flaws that you do have, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now that I've made it to this, what's next? What can I work on? Oh, what on the way to getting where I am here, what did I struggle with? And it's necessary to take those pauses to do your self reflect, and then figure out how to be better so that you can celebrate the next party, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. um So I finished my training, Eric, at work. I finished. It
Okay.
was only 1 week. This is like the first time I've ever been like in training. I did my first job. I've only had 4 jobs, you guys. Okay, so let's start. So my first job was fast food. It was like 3 days of training, 4-hour shifts. All right, fair. The second training was a year later, which was for retail. I worked there for 3 years. The training was 3 days again, this time different, 7 hours, 6 to 7 hour shifts, 3 days still. And when I worked at the warehouse, it was on-site training, because warehouse is pretty straightforward. So it was on-site training 1 or 2 days. Working at the shelter, it was a week training, 40 hours. So it was a little bit more professional. And then now the same thing, 40-hour training for my new job is behavioral therapy. For those who don't know, I'll be working with kids who are on the spectrum. So some form of autistic, some form of cognitive delay. Um, so this was a full week, Eric, of training with director of this, operator of that, and HR of this. So it was a lot
Hmm.
of fancy names flying around, a lot of training, a lot
Hmm.
of questionnaires, answering and responding, scenario based shadowing. It was just an overload. Anyways, they gave out the competency test. I passed it, so I'm live on the field today. But I
Nice.
wanted to bring up, thank you. I wanted to bring up the 90-day probation period that most jobs, professional jobs, require,
Hmm.
just to ensure that you understand the system and just to ensure that this feels right for you. Do I have any doubt in this field? No, absolutely not. I don't like to sign up for something I know I can't do. Okay, I'm a winner.
Mhm.
So, but what I wanted to bring to the podcast, Eric, is I wanted to emphasize this 90-day probation period. Okay,
Okay.
I wanted to bring to people's attention that this job isn't in my hands. Like this job isn't
Mhm.
just given to me. It's there for the taking, but it's not going to be handed to me. Okay. This type of field is 100% application. So what you learn, you have to put in the field. You have to work with these kids the way you've been taught, the way their systems
Mhm.
developed. You have to mimic it. They told me that my caseloads depended on me, depended on my performance, depended on how I juggle, my
Mhm.
clientele. So I'm starting off pretty precarious. For those who don't know what precarious means, is my shifts won't be completely consistent. My load won't be completely consistent. So it's going to be a roller coaster until those 90 days are up. Then
Mhm.
I'll have my set schedule. So for the first week, they have me part-time, 15 hours, Monday through Friday. I'm hands-on with one client Monday through Friday until I get a second case. Um, I just wanted to put on the podcast that speak it into existence. So I speak that, with after these 90 days, I will be full time, and it's not gonna just fall in my lap, you guys. I'm gonna be, this morning I got up before the podcast. I opened up that client's file, and I wanted to familiarize myself with the
Mhm.
content, what I'm getting into. This is my field, you guys. It's over.
Mhm.
It's over for Rodolfo. This is my field. This is what my profession is now. So I have to put
Mhm.
in that time. So I already started looking into that client's file. I started getting familiarized with what they want me to do on today's session,
Mhm.
and I'm already thinking of ways how I can step my game up and really utilize these 90 days to get all the mistakes out,
Mhm.
all the questions out, and really just put my head down and just go
Mhm.
and just
Right.
go.
It's necessary, and it's great that you're looking at it and you're doing this outside of work. So get ready for work. It's the mindset that you're getting yourself prepared for, right? What are you gonna do? How are you gonna say it? How are you gonna move? All these little small characteristics is gonna help you to be better when the time comes and you're in that room or however the situation might be with your patient. And it's not only better for you, but it's better for the patient, right? Because the patient's getting or the person's getting the best possible treatment or care that he can receive or she could receive because you're trying to be the best that you could be in your situation. Um, so that's kudos to you and doing this little thing for 90 days. But remember, it doesn't also stop at 90 days. It only continues to progress and get more and more into figuring out ways to be better and bring in that mentality to the work so that others around you become better. Because I don't know about you, Rodolfo, but if I'm in an environment where I see others around me being successful or putting in more work, it makes me want to put in more work. It's contagious. It really is. Uh, so it's gonna make everybody around you at your work better too.
Yeah.
To know that, like, oh, this kid, he's bright, he's putting in work outside of it, oh, he's coming up with ideas, he's giving suggestions, like, oh, this he cares a lot about what he's doing,
Yeah.
and it's very prevalent in his work ethic.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize, Eric, the only reason why I'm coming at this, like in preparation for some type of fight, is because I've chosen to pursue this field, and so I'm not gonna play games, as motivational and cliche as that sounds. Like, you have to understand, like, I'm not like messing around. Like,
Hmm.
this job has an opportunity to give me a Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday off schedule, something that I've been dying for. And I'm gonna do everything I can to pursue that schedule so it could benefit me more. It allows me to spend more time with Allie. It allows
Right.
me to work on the podcast more. It allows me to know, mentally what I'm doing throughout the week. Like, I already know what my schedule and my system is. You guys, this is what I went to college for, in a way, in a sense, to
Hmm.
to be working for someone that has a system. You know, it's not just, oh, can you cover this and it's your turn to do this. No, it's like, boom, you're here, like this is your occupation, here's your clients, you know, help them, you know, benefit them, bring their numbers up, see how you can help them, their quality of life. So I wanted to bring that to the podcast, Eric, but you brought something up. You talked about how this mindset, this mentality that I'm bringing to this agency is going to benefit these kids. I like how you said that. And funny enough, yesterday, I went to a store. I wanted to get something really quick. And it was early in the morning, like 11 a.m. on Father's Day. And I thought, okay, there's no one here. There's like 5 people behind the counter. Surely this won't take long. There's 2 people in front of me. No, I was there for about 25 minutes. Everyone was kind of dragging their feet, slowly restocking, slowly doing this, acting busy, because there was only one person manning the register. There was only one person helping, you know, on the floor. And so I'm looking around, and I've worked retail, Eric. Okay, so I got some skin in the game. And I'm like, man, I ought to hop behind the counter. Anyways, I went into the car. I told Allie, like, sorry, babe, these people are kind of just dragging their feet. You know, it's morning time. It's just another morning to them. And we went to that breakfast I told you guys about with Allie's family. And again, Eric, though, we showed up to the breakfast slightly late. They just got seated. They just got their drinks, so we're a little bit late. And I asked, you know, how's the waitress? Like, is she coming back for the drinks again? And they're like, oh, I don't know. She seems like she's dragging her feet. And I'm like, why is this morning, or any morning really, just another morning for someone? Like, why? I was like, man, I was like, I don't ever want to get to that place. I'm just kind of comfortably just kind of opening a shift, you know, comfortably just going to. That scares me, Eric.
It would bother me just to know that, like, I'm not putting in the 100% that I have. Like, I'm at the job. If I'm going to be giving my time and doing this, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability and 100%. If not, then what am I doing there? Like, I'm wasting my time.
That's what I'm saying.
It's a waste of time.
To me, time goes by faster when you're working harder. Like when you're like deliberate, okay, I'm gonna do this. Okay, boom, boom, boom. And then you're like, oh, cool, time for lunch. But when you like, and I, from experience, you guys, when you drag your feet, time goes by slower. And so I'm thinking like, okay, I get it. You hate working at your job. You know, a lot of us do. But why put more weight on yourself? Why not just try to make work go by faster by digging a little deeper? You know, like I remember there was so many times just at different jobs, fast food, retail, warehouse, even at the shelter. I used to do jobs that no one wanted to do only because it would chip out 30 minutes of my day, guaranteed. And I'm like, shoot, okay, if you don't want to do it, I'll do it then. You know, I used to cook dinner all the time at the shelter. You know why? Because that's an hour of preparation out of my day, out of my work schedule. 1 hour, I'm responsible for cooking only. You know, and they hated cooking. My coworkers hated cooking, but hey, that's an hour of my day that I get to, you know, boom, put some of that on there. You know what I'm saying? So that was that little morning thing that I always get stuck between, Eric. I always get stuck between like not trying to sound cocky and being realistic, you know?
Absolutely.
And I'm saying it from experience, you guys. Fast food, retail, warehouse. I've worked at a shelter. Like I've worked at the lowest jobs, service jobs. And by dragging your feet, you just make it worse.
Absolutely. I've worked at a warehouse before, you know, taking parts off the trucks and stocking them on the shelves. It was very tedious, very backbreaking work, and I worked long hours. But besides the point, I know a lot of the people that have working there for years and years and years, and they find ways to cut corners, slack, you know, and all these different things. And they're trying to like come up to me and tell me like, hey, you know what, you don't have to really do that. You can just do that. I'm like, what do you mean? No? Do you know who you're talking to? Do you know who you're talking to? I'm not cutting any corners. If I gotta take that part and I gotta put it over there because I've been told to, and that's what the job requires, I'm gonna take 3 of them. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and cut corners. Like, how do you think I'm getting to where I am today? It's not because I'm sitting there cutting corners or slacking or talking, you know, while I'm working or complaining about my situation. I'm just I'm putting my blinders on, and I'm working. I'm there at that job for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and waste my time, and you're wasting my time right now. So it's just the mentality that it was just the mentality that I had. And it's just, I know it's heartless. I get it. And I probably shouldn't like be like that, but to me, it's almost disrespectful in a way
I
when,
always think about like when I still do work for a company. I'm talking about when I used to work for a company. Soon I will not be working for a company. That's
yeah,
always the goal. I always think about like, man, like let's say I'm the owner of Nordstrom Rack, and
exactly.
whatever that guy's name is, my employee, like I would want him to give, to give me his best if I was the owner,
Exactly.
and I always think about like just the small things, Eric. I always think about like, let's say I worked at fast food, and I don't know, I was supposed to restock something, and I'm thinking like, okay, if I had an employee, I would want my employee to restock properly.
Exactly. It's just a sign of respect of who you're working for. You're right. They've been grateful and gracious enough to give you the job
Mm-hmm.
or the position for whatever time period being. The least that you can do is show the respect by putting in work and not cutting corners, because that's just, to me, it's just the ultimate sign of disrespect to both yourself and your employer.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And I wanted just to like to me, what bothers me more than anything about dragging your feet at work, it's not so much that you make time go by longer. It's just that I don't know. I mean, you guys see a glimpse of my like ADHD on the podcast where I kind of like jump to topic. But like when I used to work retail or fast food warehouse, I'll probably even do it today on my first day on the job. I just constantly talk to myself,
Mhm.
like what I want to do, what I'm doing now. Like I'll literally like maybe after I record, I'll start talking to myself like, okay, I'll probably have like an egg omelet. And then like as I'm making the egg omelet, I'm like thinking about like, oh yeah, so I seen that picture on social media. And I'm constantly talking to myself. And at work, it's typically like work related. My like the times I talk to myself. So I'm always thinking like when I worked retail, like man, when I finish school at Crafton, I'm gonna go to Cal State, and then I want to see if I can maybe get a job on campus. So I'm just constantly figuring out like my next moves when I was
Mhm.
in these crappy jobs, and it made me work stronger. Like it made me work harder because I started to believe that, man, this isn't going to be permanent. Like
Mhm.
working cash register at Nordstrom Rack isn't going to be permanent,
Mhm.
um whatever it may be, whatever job it is, working 10 hours at a warehouse, it's not going to be permanent, and I'll tell
Mhm.
myself this, and I just wish people would understand, like, man, it's not going to get better unless you do something to try to
Mhm.
get it to make it better. So let's say, for example, they work at Olive Garden, but they have no intentions of leaving Olive Garden. That's fine. That's what you want to do. I would just say make your employment at Olive Garden the best employment ever. Do
Mhm.
what you can to be the best server. But don't be bitter. Don't drag your feet. Why is it my fault? I'm just here to have a dinner with a breakfast with my family, or a dinner with my family. You know,
Right.
uh, and at the end of the day, it's your shift. So whatever
Exactly.
energy you want to carry out, that's up to you. But for me, when I work those crappy shifts, I used to
Mhm.
hate working evening shifts, 5
Mhm.
p.m. to 9 p.m. I used to hate it. But me, Eric, I walked in there, with a positive attitude, and I figured out how can I make these 4 hours the fastest 4 hours ever, the funnest,
Yeah.
productive 4 hours ever.
Right. And it's sacrifice that you have to make, right? Like this whole 90 days that you're going through, these are sacrifices that you're going to have to make, with your fiance, of not being able to see her sometimes, or sacrifices that you're going to make of not being out with family, or at home, or whatever it might be. But it's just the time period of where you're going to be at, of just knowing that okay, I have to put in the work for this time period. I have to put in the effort and all this in order for me to be successful. And it's just going to be a stepping stone for the long run, right? The stepping stone for when you go out and you're put in that situation to succeed. You just make those sacrifices for the now, for the time being, right? That uncomfortability that we've talked about, to be comfortable in a spot where you're like, okay, I don't have to necessarily make all those sacrifices that I've made before because of just of the sacrifices that I've already made type of situation. Um, so it's necessary, and also, and part of that comes with having conversations as well. Like, you don't get 50 years without having conversations with your significant other or your family of saying, hey, listen, like, I'm gonna be having, I have this work, I got this 90-day period or whatever, just explaining your situation and saying like, I need to focus on this. So I'm not going to be able to be doing most of the things I'm doing. This is part of that saying no that I was talking about. Learning how to say no to people and loved ones as well. Of just saying, I need to focus on this. This is my sacrifice. My sacrifice this time period for the long run. And I think it'll benefit us both in the future of learning how to say no and using that to your advantage.
Okay, Mr. Eric. Okay. I love it. I love it. I have one more topic, sir, and then that's it for me for this week's podcast.
Mhm.
Today is very busy. I got 3 p.m. I got my case. I'll be there till 6:30, and then I have my gym boxing class tonight at 7. So might be a little bit late because I'm driving not too far, but I might be a little bit late, maybe a couple minutes. But today I got a week free at the boxing gym. There's only 3 classes per week. They're going to be bumping it up to 4 classes per week.
Mhm.
So I did all 3 for free, and I'm signing up officially today. We already talked about the gym membership cost, the gear that's included or whatever. So it's official, Eric. I officially will be starting at the gym, boxing gym today as an official member. And it's kind of cool because there's some amateurs. There's one pro there. He makes his pro debut August, so in a couple months here. But it's kind of cool because I'm new. There's other new people there, but then again, there's like the amateur and that pro. They work with us.
Mhm.
So it's super cool to see the work ethic. They've been doing this for years. So their tolerance for hitting the bag, their tolerance for calisthenics, dropping down and doing 25 and then, doing wind sprints and da 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 da. And they're like soldiers. They're just boom.
Mhm.
This is just this is literally a job actually.
Mhm.
But it's fun. It's fun being pushed by their work ethic. And each class I'm getting better. I'm hanging in there each time, stronger. And most importantly, for the hour and a half or so, my mind's clear. I'm not thinking about work. I'm not thinking about my fiance, about Louis. I'm not thinking about bills. I'm not thinking about nothing. No groceries. The only thing that's in my head is boxing. The only thing that's in my head is sweating. Sweating,
Yeah.
breathing heavy, working. That's the only thing that's running through my head.
Good. Well, we're glad that you got that situated and going for you right now. That's good for you. I also wanted to try and speak into existence us getting another Blake back on this podcast.
Yeah.
He just had his show. I wanted to bring him on and let him talk about it and how that went. So yeah, I want to try and see if we can get Blake back on this podcast and get
Yes.
upcoming future.
Yes, definitely. You guys, he looked tremendous. Going into the show, he looked tremendous. I knew he was gonna cut that good. For those who don't know, I was I don't want to say I was an aspiring bodybuilder. I was into bodybuilding for a while. My brothers got me into it. My stepdad got me into it, and I would just watch highlights of, as funny as it sounds, them working out, but just them hitting different body movements, body parts with different movements, machine, free weight. But one thing that I really paid really close attention to was their diet. Was how much water intake do they do? How much, carbs and blah, 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 calories do they eat? How much grams of meat do they eat? How much protein do they consume? Down to the vitamins, down to the protein shakes, down to this, down to that. And if it wasn't for the steroids that a lot of these bodybuilders take, you're looking at the healthiest people in the world.
Yeah.
You guys, their eating regimen is impenetrable. Like, their nutritionist literally, like to the T, weighs everything out, has everything mapped out for the week on a weekly basis. You can't deter from it. You have to stay on that course. And it's a lot of discipline, you guys. You know, there's a lot of, when you lift weights, your testosterone grows. And if you're a bodybuilder and you have all this testosterone, you're going to want to smash a cheeseburger. You know what I'm saying? You're going to want to smash a couple of them, but you can't. You know, you have to have your discipline. You have to continue to hit the gym, continue to get your cardio in, continue to diet, continue to hydrate. So cheers to Blake. It's a lot of work, and he's making it look easy, Eric. He's making it look easy. That's a good sign that this is natural for him. Like, this is something that may be, you know, a career-long journey for him. So the TMP, we send our blessings to him, and if he's willing to bless us with his presence, then, you know, he's welcome on the TMP for sure.
Absolutely. And I believe we have another guest coming on in the podcast in this upcoming week.
Yes.
You want to talk about that?
Yes. So it has been confirmed. Hold on. Let's go outside. It's been confirmed that my mother will be making the podcast. She'll be making it onto the podcast next week, which is the 28th. She's in the middle of dropping a book. I'm sure she'll talk about it a little bit. She's on the what is it called? The review process. So yeah, she'll be on the podcast next week. This is my biological mother, the lady who raised me as a single mother until I was about 12 years old when she got remarried. So for about 5 years, she was on the solo, trying to hold it down. But yeah, her story is beautiful. I'll let her tell it. But yeah, I'm excited to have her. Eric's had his mom. It's time for me to bring my mom on. Eric's also had his dad on the podcast. So if you guys are listening, and if someone reaches out and says, hey, we would love to have your dad on the podcast, then I could bring my dad on the podcast. It's going to be weird because there is a little language barrier between my father and I, my biological father. But if that's something you guys would be interested in, if that's what's going to wake you up and motivate you for the week, then, you know, reach out to us and I can see if I can make that work.
Yes. And we're also working on getting some merchandise and some stickers for y'all. So if you guys are interested in getting that, or any ideas of what y'all are wanting to get, don't be afraid to write in the comments or reach out and let us know. Yeah.
So if you guys are into like beanies, hoodies, whatever, sweats, let us know. We're definitely gonna try to fill the needs, whatever it is. We'll also have stuff that we'll be rocking. I know I'll probably be interested in a hoodie, and we're working on stickers. So yeah, we're in the works of all of that. I'm happy. I'm excited for it. But that's everything for me. Eric, you have anything else?
No, just everybody continue to stay motivated and grind, keep grinding. Sacrifices are now for the success you'll have in the future.
Yes, and as cliche as that sounds, you guys, work now, enjoy later. Be disciplined, be smart, take care of business. You know what needs to get done. Only you know what needs to get done. So take care of that. Sit down to yourself. Take care of business. Thank you guys for tuning into my Mindtality podcast. I'm your host, Rodolfo Felix.
And co-host Eric, guys.
And we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Adios.